After a 1-hour-long discussion with Derek Minor about his The Trap album, we took another hour to dive into some heavy questions. The Trap and the conversation about it unveiled the hardships of a disenfranchised African American community as they struggled to fly high above the trap by any means. Coming into this interview, I found another opportunity. Let's have an honest and nuanced conversation about race. Yes, not an original idea, but let's do something a little different. Let's pretend for a moment that you, not a person of color, had the opportunity to sit down with a black person and ask them anything without recourse. What would you ask? It is in this vein that Derek Minor and I spoke about racial stereotypes, misconceptions, and solutions to help people understand each other better. Instead of shouting and arguing, we used it as a teachable moment that takes many of the rebuttals towards the African American community and gives a more thoughtful answer. It is also important to note, and he acknowledges it as well, that Derek Minor does not speak for all black people. He is aware that some people may agree with the rebuttals and that others may even fall somewhere in the middle. This is his take and interpretation towards the questions being asked. So without further ado, Rapzilla presents a black and white conversation about race. Why can black people say the N-word and white people can't? And how do you feel about the word and what it means?
I mean that's always that's a hilarious question. At the end of the day, my whole pushback on that whole thing is the question shouldn't be why can someone say it and why can't someone not say it. The question is if someone says that you saying that word offends them, why would you want to say it? Like if you look in Corinthians, Paul talks about, if meat offends my brother, I won't even eat it. And he's talking about meat that's being sacrificed to idols. So he's talking about someone, he says that there's the law of love here. So if we're talking about to the Christian believer, it's like the answer is not why can someone say it and someone can't say it. The answer is if someone says you saying this word offends them, why would you even want to? And that's what I'll say. Until we can address that question, there's no point even addressing the other question, because it doesn't. The end thing is it doesn't matter.
Right.
For me, it doesn't matter. If you were to tell me my name, if I were to call you Jay, like what's up, Jay, and you were to say, bro, I hate when people call me Jay because of whatever reason, and whether it's a reason I called you. If it's something that I did, then it doesn't matter what it is that made you say, hey, I don't want you to call me Jay anymore. Please just call me Justin. Like, my response to that should be, I am so sorry. I had no clue that you did not like to be called that. I'll never call you that again. Well, it's well documented that black people don't like white people calling them the N-word or using that word around them. So the issue is not why. The issue is why would you even want to say it in the first place? That's what I would say.
Okay, and then what about why do I guess black people call each other it?
First of all, I'm not a spokesperson. First of all, I'm not a spokesperson for all black people. So I think the idea that every black person has an answer for every black person, I think that is I think that that's a very limited view of black people. We have very diverse ideas. So I can't tell you why another person would say that. But I would say, ideally, in my context, like, that's just a word that we used in that context, like, and I don't know why everyone says it. I wouldn't even tell you because everyone has their own different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Some people, they're like, what's up, homie? Whatever. So again, I couldn't even speak to that. But, I know people that don't use that word. They hate it. There's tons of black people that I know that word is offensive for anyone to use. And then there's others that it doesn't bother them. So I mean, I couldn't even give you a answer for all of black people in the world.
That's a big that's a big responsibility.
Yeah, that's huge. Like, all right, guys, it's riding on me. Like,
Derek is our guy.
I
All
wouldn't,
right.
and I think that, but that also speaks to a big issue among conservatives, and well, I won't say conservatives. That speaks, and that's something we do with everyone. So we find one gay person that we talk to that one gay person, and then we act as though that one gay person speaks for every gay person, or that one Asian person, or that one Hispanic person speaks for every Hispanic person. And that goes
Yeah,
to
that's a great
show
point.
that we have a very limited view of people. Um, Cultures and people are diverse. So, um, and that's why when I hate when I'm having a conversation like this and they bring up that one black friend that they have that thinks how they think. And I'm like, of course that person, that y'all are friends because y'all have things in common. Usually people they usually gravitate to people who have the same views that they have culturally. So just because you have a black friend that's okay with you using the N-word around them, that doesn't mean that I'm okay with that. Or just because you have a black friend that that is okay with you dressing up in blackface, that doesn't mean I'm okay with that. We're a culture of people. So the big question is, and I've seen people literally it's generally accepted that it's not okay to say the N word if you're white, or really outside of black people. It's generally accepted that that's a horrible thing. But I've had people go find the one black person they can find and say, this guy says it's okay, so therefore it's okay. And it's like, why would you just not use the rule of thumb that most black people say, hey, we don't want you to say this around us? Like, why would you find the minority of the group and say, okay, well, if this guy says it's okay, then it has to be okay. And I think that's just our desire to be right rather than our desire to love.
Yeah, more to what you're saying on that one person. Right now, that one person, I guess, for conservatives that represents black people is Kanye West,
Or
which is
Candace Owens.
or
Right.
Candace
You know?
Owens. So
Yeah. So, and the thing is, people like Kanye and Candace or Ben Carson, they're black too. Like, we're a diverse group of people.
yeah,
I know black people that feel like Candace and Kanye. Now, and then you also have to think too, black is it's not even a real thing. That was something that was a social construct that was created. Like, if you go to the rest of the world, like when you're when I went to Israel, you don't have, it's like the idea of black, like there's not black, there's Guyanese, there's Nigerian, there's Egyptian, there's Congolese. Like, you have that. Like, the idea of boiling everyone down to black and white is horrible, and that was created because America is created on a racial caste system. So it means the lighter you are, the better you're treated. The darker you are, the worse you're treated. That was created during slavery. It's a caste system. It really created from the invention of the way that was created. What the reason why we had this whole idea of black and white was during the time early in slavery, there were white slaves, and to be able to give the white slaves a leg up, which is a sense of what was said was, hey, these people are white and they're slaves, but they're not property. Like, they're made in the image of God. So it's almost like they culturally, America gave white slaves humanity, even though they were poor.
right.
And they took humanity away from black people that were slaves and said they're not even human at all. They're animals. They're the equivalent of a dog or a horse or property that we own and we breed for our own liking. So when you look at that whole idea, the idea of just black and white, It's crazy. Like, we're a diverse group of people, and culturally, there are people that are black or dark skinned that line up with a Candace Owen and line up with a Kanye West. And then there's also black people who don't. And there's the whole gamut in between. Some
Right.
people like some of it, some people don't like. You know what I mean? There's a whole wide range. So I think for people, we have to do a better job at looking at culture as opposed to skin color.
100%. And off of what you said, this is an observation that I've made. I feel like America is the only place where when someone asks you what you are, you're something other than American. And
Yes.
for everybody who's so like prideful to be American, like, what are you? Oh, I'm Italian, I'm Dominican, I'm Cuban, whatever. But you go to Italy and be like, what are you? I'm Italian. They
I'm
they,
Italian.
they don't trace their roots back. Well, I had Dutch ancestry and German came over. No, but like when you're in America, you could have been here for 200 years already. Like, oh yeah, I'm German. I think
Right.
it's
Like
I think it's so
when I was
strange.
in Israel, the Jewish Israeli and the Muslim Israeli was Israeli. Like, everyone's Israeli. I'm Israeli. Like, that's what it is, and there's a wide gamut there, but I'm born in Israel. I'm Israeli. But we created this thing based off of looks, which is, hey, and the reason why we did, and the reason why we do that to this day is because that's the social status situation.
Right.
I'm able to, like, me telling you, yeah, I'm a Dutch dude. My history, my pedigree, like, I'm proud of being an immigrant in America. And before, I just think, like I said, America was built on a racial caste system, which is the darker you are, the worse off it is for you. The lighter you are, the better off it is for you, and everything.